I want to tell all my colleagues here what I told the Republicans in that room last night. I don't believe there are any coincidences in a matter like this. I believe that Scripture, the Bible, is very clear that God is the one that raises up those in authority. He raised up each of you, all of us. And I believe that God has ordained and allowed each one of us to be brought here for this specific moment in this time. This is my belief. I believe that each one of us has a huge responsibility today to use the gifts that God has given us to serve the extraordinary people of this great country, and they deserve it.
After more than 3 embarrassing weeks, we finally have a new Speaker of the House, and apparently God chose him and everyone else to be in the elected positions that they're in. And although God chose Representative Mike Johnson for the position, praying facilitated it.
I want to thank my dedicated wife of almost 25 years, Kelly. She's not here. We couldn't get a flight in time. This happened sort of suddenly. But we're going to celebrate soon. She spent the last couple of weeks on her knees in prayer to the Lord, and she's a little worn out. We all are. I want to thank our children, Michael and Hannah and Abby and Jack and Will.
Yes, I understand the filthy jokes that are going to be made about his curious choice of words about his wife praying, but how did he not know this was coming? Anyways, who is this relatively unknown Representative Mike Johnson, and which members of Congress is he associated with?
The swamp is on the run. MAGA is ascendant. And if you don't think that moving from Kevin McCarthy to MAGA Mike Johnson shows the ascendance of this movement and where the power in the Republican Party truly lies, then you're not paying attention.
I just want to congratulate Mike Johnson. He will be a great Speaker of the House, and we were very happy to have helped. So at this time yesterday, nobody was thinking of Mike. And then we put out the word, and now he's the Speaker of the House. So I want to just thank all of the supporters that I have, and I want to thank all of the supporters that Mike has. And again, he'll be a great speaker. I think you're going to be very proud of him.
Gates pointed out that MAGA Mike shows the ascension of this movement and where the power lies within the Republican Party. That's what he's talking about. When before, I thought the reshuffling of Speaker was all about our legislative process and Kevin McCarthy's broken promise to do Trump's bidding and act like there are no Democrats in the country at all. But once Jim Jordan Light got in, Gates and Trump are high-stepping based on the declaration that where the power in the party lies, apparently it lies in election denialism.
You know, the allegations about these voting machines, some of them being rigged with this software by Dominion. Look, there's a lot of merit to that. And when the president says the election is rigged, that's what he's talking about, that the fix was in. You know, I could give you example after example in all these states. I don't know how much time y'all have this morning, but there's some of these lawsuits have a lot of merit, and we need to exhaust all the legal remedies. But they know that in Georgia, it really was rigged. It was set up for the Biden team to win. And they have a Republican Secretary of State there that's under massive fire because he kind of went along with all of it. Nobody knows why. And so, you know, I'm not saying that everybody involved in Georgia was trying to steal the election. I'm saying that the system is set up for massive fraud and error and irregularity. And we cannot have that in our election system. And that's why we're saying exhaust all the legal remedies. We have to do that. The president knows we have to do that. If we don't, people are not going to have any confidence in the election system itself, and that is a serious problem in a constitutional republic. And that's the problem that we're up against, and that's why the president is so frustrated, and that's why so many, 71, 73 million Americans around the country feel like that the election was stolen from them.
Election fraud conspiracy theorists now completely run the leadership of the Republican Party, from their presidential candidate in Trump to their Speaker of the House here in Johnson. And many of them, they peddle these election lies for political clout. But Johnson believes in it the way that some random guy in Missouri does. And last points here on the new speaker. He started off by declaring his belief in God, which he clarifies as his belief. Okay. But with a power-thirsty politician that thinks God placed him there, those beliefs tend to get applied to everyone else's lives. And God becomes more important than legislating.
What's happened, Alex, over the last 60, 70 years is that our generation has been convinced that there's a separation of church and state, right? We heard that term all the time. And most people think that that's part of the Constitution, but it's not.
The separation of church and state is the biggest hurdle that these kinds of politicians have to clear in order to justify their desire to force their way of life onto others. And more times than not, their way of life includes limiting the rights of some of the most traditionally disenfranchised Americans for the sake of enriching people like himself, all because God chose me.
Roe v. Wade gave constitutional cover to the elective killing of unborn children in America, period. You think about the implications of that on the economy. We're all struggling here to cover the bases of Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all the rest. If we had all those able-bodied workers in the economy, we wouldn't be going upside down and toppling over like this. Listen,
The gentleman
I will not yield. I will not.